At the very first Republican presidential debate last August, the country watched as Megyn took Donald Trump to task for derogatory comments she said he made about women. Take a look.
Mr. Trump, you've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
For the record, it was well beyond Rosie O'Donnell.
Yes, I'm sure it was.
Your Twitter account has several disparaging comments about women's looks. You once told a contestant on Celebrity Apprentice it would be a pretty picture to see her on her knees.
I think the big problem this country has is being politically correct. I've been challenged by so many people, and I don't frankly have time for total political correctness. And to be honest with you, this country doesn't have time either. And frankly, what I say, and oftentimes it's fun, it's kidding, we have a good time, what I say is what I say. And honestly, Megyn, if you don't like it, I'm sorry. I've been very nice to you, although I could probably maybe not be based on the way you have treated me, but I wouldn't do that.
On page 235 in here, you start talking about what led up to that. So what went on between you and Trump leading up to that presidential debate?
So I tell the story for the first time. I've never gotten into this. But there was a backstory to that moment. Once he announced his candidacy for president, one of the stories that broke about him, and it was significant news in the lead up to that debate, so it was July of 2015, was that in his divorce proceeding from his first wife, Ivana, she had under oath accused him of raping her. And she later recanted that testimony, but the news broke that under oath she accused him of it. And basically people were just running with it. Now, I practiced law for 9 years. I don't know what happened between Donald and Ivana, but I know that in divorce proceedings, people often say things that are not true. So I had on the reporter on my show, and I challenged him about why he thought this was relevant and how he accounted for this reality that people do lie in divorce proceedings all the time in his reporting. Trump was not happy with that interview. He wasn't happy that I put the reporter on the show. And 4 days before the presidential debate, that has now become so well known and well seen, he called me up and threatened me and made very clear to me that he was extremely displeased. I told him flat out, Mr. Trump, I'm sorry you were unhappy, but you don't control the editorial on the Kelly file. And that was it. He started screaming at me, he hung up the phone, and the next time we met was that Thursday night. And I was in a position where I had to ask myself, what am I going to do? Because he's very angry, he's volatile, we've seen that already at this point in the election, and it's very likely that he'll come after me, because one thing I forgot to mention is in this phone conversation, he said, I almost unleashed my beautiful Twitter account against you, and I still might. And then the world saw what happened thereafter.
Well, you say 6 months before announcing his candidacy, he began reaching out to you, charming you, sending you personal notes. What was that all about?
You know, I now know that he did this with many reporters. At the time, I didn't know that. But he would send me little notes. The New York Times Magazine did an article about me, and he sent me a copy of the magazine article about me, signed Donald Trump, you know. And he would send the Christmas cards, you know, things like that.